Hello comic groovers, welcome to the 15th episode of the Boys comic series. In this episode, we are going to start the Boys comic volume 3, Good for the Soul. Since the Boys comic series is quite extensive, we have decided to cover 2 issues in one video to finish the series quickly. So in this episode, along with the 15th issue, I will also be explaining the 16th issue. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. If you are new to this episode, we recommend watching the previous videos of this series and then enjoying this video. Since the Boys series is filled with adult content, we will only be able to explain this comic series within YouTube's limitation. If you want to fully enjoy this comic, we recommend checking out our The Boys comic reading order. If you haven't followed our social media handles yet, please do so. All the links will be provided in the video description. So without further ado, let's start this comic series. The story starts with Starlight, who is sitting alone in a church, trying to find answers to the incidents that happened to her recently. Remembering the day she was about to join the Seven's headquarters for the first time, she tells Jesus that accepting everything that happened that day could have been her mistake, but letting it all happen to her was his fault. She says that maybe he is punishing her for some mistake, but if this is a punishment, she has to say that he is quite sadistic. Starlight goes on to say that it has been 6 months since she joined the Seven, and she doesn't think she is a superhero anymore. She had an idea that the Seven would be quite different from the Young Americans team, but there they would at least occasionally fight crime. Apart from that, they would also help children and work for charity, but here they don't do anything like that. They just keep making corporate appearances and looking at contracts. But while doing corporate things for Vought, she also got a chance to meet the vice president. Basically, here Starlight is talking about Vic the Veep. Starlight goes on to say that he is not at all like how people make fun of him and call him by that nickname. Yes, she is definitely not going to call him by the nickname that other people call him. She further says that whatever it is, she didn't deserve all this. Maybe she is a slow learner, and from what happened recently, it seems that she is not. She is definitely a slow learner. Then Starlight remembers an incident where she is standing outside a room, listening to A-Train, Homelander, and Jack from Jupiter. A-Train and Jack are making fun of Starlight's naivety and telling an incident where they fooled Starlight in the name of a mission. Actually, they tell Starlight that she has to go to a bar where she has to find a contact named Leslie Bean. I mean, you must be understanding that they actually wanted Starlight to say lesbian, but maybe she doesn't understand this and actually goes out and starts looking for Leslie Bean, where someone takes offense to this and starts beating Starlight. When Starlight hears all this while standing outside, she feels very bad, but at the same time, she also understands that there are no real missions here, only attempts to make fun and earn money. Further, Starlight tells about another event which I think is the most important event to change Starlight's character arc. So, after so much insult and ill treatment while staying with the Seven, Starlight gets quite depressed and goes back to her home to improve her, where her boyfriend Drummer Boy also lives. She thinks that meeting Drummer Boy will give her solace and finally some happiness too. But all of Starlight's hopes are shattered when she reaches Drummer Boy because Drummer Boy is engrossed in having a good conversation with another soup named Holy Mary. But what feels even worse to Starlight than seeing this is that instead of admitting his mistake, Drummer Boy blames it all on Starlight, saying that she went to the Seven, so he thought Starlight had left him, so he moved on, etc. After which Starlight says that she came back to New York because now she has nowhere else to go. But what hurts her the most is that in this world, honest and good people are considered fools and attempts are made to take advantage of them. My friends, my heroes all turned out to be false. And then she looks towards Jesus and says, "So is my God also false?" With this question, the scene changes where Butcher has gone to meet Raynor, and he is still angry with Raynor. Butcher says that Raynor couldn't do anything further due to fear of Soups, but Raynor explains to him that apart from Soups, Vought has access to big people in the government. Here, she is obviously talking about Vice President Vic the Veep, due to which even if she took any action against Vought, there would be no significant benefit. On the contrary, Vought would try to eliminate Raynor and the CIA. Then Raynor retaliates to Butcher, saying that you also killed 150 soups in Russia and destroyed evidence without leaving any traces and left the job of handling everything there to us. So now our account is settled. To which Butcher says that it was necessary to kill those soups, otherwise, Vought would use so many soups again for some other plan. To which Raynor says that she is afraid of this very attitude of yours. Just because there is Compound V, it doesn't mean they are bad. You are not related to anyone. Anyway, your own body is also filled with Compound V. To which Butcher says that if he also starts wearing a cape and troubling others, then yes, you can kill me too. After which Raynor thinks for a while and says that's not what I meant. After that, Butcher talks about their old days and says that you also killed many innocent people in your mission in Afghanistan, so you and I are equally bad. And after this, Butcher leaves from there. Meanwhile, Hughie goes to meet old Legend in his library. Legend asks Hughie why Butcher didn't come, and if he told Hughie why he called him there. Hughie says that Butcher had some work, so he sent him, but no, he didn't tell him anything else. After that, Legend reveals that Blarney Cock is back, and that's why he called Hughie there. Hughie thinks that maybe a new soup has taken Blarney's position, but Legend clarifies that Blarney Cock, yes, the dead Blarney Cock is back. Legend explains that because of Compound V in these soups' bodies, even after death, their mind and body can be jump-started. But yes, their mind won't work as before, and they are occasionally shown to the public in a controlled environment, while the rest of the time, they lie in a corner like a useless, non-functioning body. Legend further says that Vought does this so that they can show the public that these superheroes can defeat even death, making the public trust the soups even more. But Hughie will have to kill Blarney again. Hughie agrees but says he'll do this mission alone, and Legend should not tell Butcher anything more about it. But what's in it for Legend if Hughie kills him? Legend says he wants to prove Butcher's point that once his soup is dead, he'll stay dead. Hughie asks, just that? Legend replies, yes. Hughie responds, okay, then I'll kill Blarney alone, and after that, you'll tell me everything about the history of the boys, because even after working with this team for 6 months, I feel like I don't know anything about this team. Legend agrees to that deal, and Hughie leaves. On the other hand, after asking Jesus questions, Starlight waits for any sign or response from him. But after receiving no answer, Starlight says, "You were never in my life," and saying that, Starlight leaves from there and goes to sit in the same park where she and Hughie first met. Coincidentally, Hughie had also gone to that park for a walk at the same time, and seeing Starlight there, he says hi to her. Seeing Hughie, Starlight hugs him while crying and says, "Please treat me well for a while. Don't do anything wrong to me." And Hughie replies, "Why would I do something like that?" After that, Hughie sits Starlight down and asks her about her situation. It's worth noting here that Hughie still doesn't know that Annie January is a soup and her soup name is Starlight, nor that she is part of the Seven, and Annie herself doesn't want to tell him. So without naming the Seven, Annie tells him that her job is not at all what she thought it would be, and how people have taken advantage of her being righteous and always made a fool of her by mocking her integrity. Annie also tells how she used to believe in religion until now, but now she has lost faith in all those things too. Hughie cheers up Annie's mood while talking to her, and in the end, he and Annie make plans to meet in the evening, and after that, Hughie leaves the park. On the other hand, the female is on her mercenary job, where she goes to kill people for some money and, more importantly, to quench her bloodlust. But this time, seeing the happy family of the man she got the job to kill, the female ponders whether to kill that man or not. Next, we see Butcher, Hughie, and Frenchie sitting in the boys' office, where Frenchie is asking about the female, if he knows where she went or where she could go. At the same time, Hughie is asking if they still have any bug, i.e., any device left in Teenage Kix's house, or if Teenage Kix removed all devices after being found out last time. To which first tells Frenchie that he hasn't seen the female and has no idea where she might have gone now. Then he tells Hughie that he's not sure if any bug is left or not. He can go back to the van and check himself. After that, frustratedly says, "Why do you all keep asking me everything like kids?" After which Frenchie goes to find the female, and Hughie goes to keep an eye on Teenage Kix. Meanwhile, Butcher turns on the TV, and we see that the boys have also bugged the Seven's headquarters, and on TV, they are currently watching the camera footage of the Seven's meeting, where all the soups except Starlight and the man we saw in Russia in the previous issue are present. Butcher highlights that man. In the meeting, Homelander tells all the soups that Vought is now preparing and speeding up sending soups to national defense, and this will start from tomorrow when Vic the Veep will talk about bringing soups into national defense in a public speech. Homelander also tells that President Dakota Bob doesn't know anything about Vic the Veep's speech, and therefore we have to keep this completely secret, and this should not be known to anyone outside this room. Hearing this from Homelander, and Butcher smile while eating popcorn. In the next scene, Hughie is hiding the van near Teenage Kix's house and trying to trace any bug, and luckily, there is still a bug lying there, through which Hughie can hear their conversation. Hughie finds out that next week, Teenage Kix will show the resurrected Blarney Cock to the public at a conference, And also that the teenage Kicks team themselves are troubled by this dead Blarney because this Blarney has definitely come alive from the body but not from the mind, and because of this he is doing a lot of weird things. While hearing all this, it gets very late for Hughie, and he leaves from there to meet Annie. On the other hand, Frenchie reaches the man who gives the female contracts to kill people. Frenchie goes there and asks him about the female's location, also saying that from now on he should not contact the female. But that man calls his bodyguards and tells them to beat up Frenchie. But Frenchie beats both of them in one go and asks the same question to that man again. And this time, that scared man tells Frenchie the female's location and also agrees to Frenchie's words. After that, in the next scene, we see the female who is still waiting outside the house of the man she has to kill so that she doesn't have to kill that man in front of his family. Just then, that man comes out alone, whom the female was about to go to kill when Frenchie says from behind, "Want some chocolate?" Seeing him, the female is surprised. Then Frenchie makes the female understand that he knows she doesn't do this just for money, but it has become her habit. But she has to understand that doing all this is not right for her, and she has to stop herself from doing all this. After that, the female understands him, and they both leave from there happily without killing that man. Actually, if you have watched the show, this would be a bit weird for you. But in the comics, Frenchie and the female's relationship is not romantic, but kind of like a brother-sister relationship, meaning Frenchie takes care of the female like a caring older brother. Anyway, let's move on. Hughie and Annie are at a bar where they both drink, and because Starlight has always followed her religion wholeheartedly, she has never even touched a drink until today. But after drinking for the first time, she gets a little too drunk, and after talking about this and that for some time, Hughie puts Annie in a taxi where drunk Annie asks Hughie to come to her house with her to do good work. But Hughie, like a good and responsible person, tells Annie that she is drunk right now and doesn't know what she is saying, and he doesn't want to take advantage of her in this condition, so she should go home now, and they will meet again later. And saying that, Annie leaves from there, and with this, our 15th to 16th issue ends. So comic groovers, this was the 15th and 16th issue of the Boys comic, and yes, if you have subscribed to the channel, thank you very much, and those who haven't, please do so at your convenience. No calamity is coming. And if you want to enjoy the Boys comic issues, you can watch out the Boys comic correct reading order. So we'll meet in the next video. Until then, goodbye.